Hey, it's Russ from the Infectious Groove Podcast and Vinyl Channel, and today I'm going to do kind of an opinion piece about vinyl and music elitists in general. Some might call it music snob or vinyl snob. I'm going to share some opinions of mine on it today, coming right up. So the idea of vinyl snob or definitely music snob has been around quite a long time, but I feel like we're seeing a growth in that's going right along with the growth that you see in the vinyl community that's been happening over the past 10 years or so. And I understand it to a certain extent. I get that people love vintage equipment, or they're super passionate about some artists. I mean, I jokingly say a lot of times, oh, this album's the best album by this band and I'll fight you over it, or this band is criminally underrated and I'll fight you over it, or whatever. But it's always jokingly, and I think that what happens on the internet a lot maybe is that we lose a lot of that nuance just because it's written word, and a lot of people their joking points are lost. But I do see a lot of people I feel like unnecessarily coming down on maybe people that are new to the hobby of collecting records or listening on vinyl in general, or maybe folks who are brand new to audio equipment or really don't know what they're doing yet. One of the most infamous ones that you see is if anybody posts say a Crosley turntable or whatever, the whole world will come down on their head. And do I think the bass Crosley, like those suitcase ones that you see, are good by any means? No. But Crosley in the past couple of years started making some equipment that's a lot more decent and won't just ruin your records instantly. But I see a lot of people just come down on other people quickly instead of trying to lend a helping hand. Vintage gear is awesome. Like everybody would love a 1200 or a Clear Audio Concept or a full Macintosh setup as far as amps and preamps and everything go. And I consider myself to have a modest setup that I like a great deal, but it's taken years for me to put that stuff together. And I at one time had a low-end turntable and had to deal with that, where I would post a record that I would share that I was listening to, and instead of talking about the music or asking how I liked the experience on vinyl or whatever, instantly somebody would point out in their post something that they didn't like about my setup or whatever else, and it can get discouraging. So as far as equipment goes, personally, I think that we all got to start somewhere, and I would like to see a lot of people giving their opinions more on equipment to be helpful, and try and let people know that there are, especially here now today, so many cool options that people can look into pricing wise, and really help push people that way, instead of just saying, oh, whatever you bought is bad, that was dumb, you made a horrible choice. One other thing I want to touch on as far as the whole vinyl resurgence goes is I love vinyl. Chances are if you're watching this video, you love vinyl, and that's okay, but it doesn't mean that everybody has to be listening to music on vinyl. If somebody else has a more preferred format, if all they do is casually listen on streaming or satellite radio, or if they're past what they feel vinyl can offer them and they listen to MQA or FLAC files or whatever else, that's all okay. As long as we're all enjoying the music together, I think that matters a whole heck of a lot more than the medium itself. I love vinyl for a multitude of reasons that I go into in almost each and every video. But that doesn't mean everybody else has to love vinyl, and it doesn't mean that everybody else has to listen to, if they're not listening to a particular album on the vinyl format, that they're not hearing it in the best way possible, or the best way for them to enjoy it. The other thing that I wanted to address in this video is what I see out there in the vinyl community, as far as a couple of forums that I've posted on and some Facebook pages and whatnot. I will say, and I promise this isn't a cheap plug or anything like that, there are vinyl pages out there like the Vinyl Den that's run by a friend of ours based out here in Southeast Michigan, where They try very hard to keep the vibe of the page positive, but there are a lot of other pages out there that I see on Facebook or even Reddit threads or Instagram or even in vinyl YouTube comment threads, and especially some dedicated vinyl forums, where it seems like the idea is to just seem always better than someone else regarding which pressing that you have, or definitely your musical tastes. I see so many people, and again, this is almost like the the equipment debate, where you have people that'll say, oh, well, that pressing of that album is terrible. If you're trying to be helpful and whatnot, then that's great. But, you know, some people, that all they can afford is the $20 or $25, $30 pressing of a record. Not everybody can afford the mobile fidelity pressing of everything, even when it's in print, let alone the aftermarket prices that they go for, which can get insane. Or QRP, you insert audiophile label here. Not everybody can afford that stuff. And again, back to the first point I was making about equipment, I would like to see more people just applauding the fact that someone's into vinyl at all, and stepping their foot into the format instead of just instantly saying, oh, well, what you have is, not good enough, or something along those lines. And then related to that is the other thing that I see where, and this again relates to all of us being passionate about artists we love, and music is so connected to memories that we have, and the summer you went to all those concerts, or the first time you heard that song, or your group of friends you had when that album came out. And I understand all of that, but what I see on a lot of these forums, and honestly, again, not a cheap plug, but the Vinyl Den is the only one where I really don't see it, is people will just feel the need to tell someone else that something that they adore, that they love, that they're listening to is terrible. And I just don't understand that. I've been very vocal on the podcast and probably in a couple of YouTube videos about there being one band that I personally just can't stand, and it's hard for me to keep my mouth closed on that. But there's a multitude of music out there that I don't like at all, that it's just easy to scroll by. When you go into these vinyl groups or these vinyl forums, and somebody started a thread about they're super excited that this is finally getting released on vinyl, or they just picked it up from the record store, I see so many people taking some sort of delight in being like, oh, that's the worst album ever, or oh, I can't believe you bought that, or oh, that's wasted money, or oh, that band's so overrated. Just scroll by, man. I see, probably in the last 2 weeks alone, from the date of this video being released, there are 2 albums that I have zero interest in. If you gave them to me, honestly don't think I'd ever spin them. But I've seen tons of people overjoyed about these 2 albums coming out, and constantly filling the feeds of the Facebook pages and the forums, and I just scroll by. I just say, think good for you. That's awesome. Like, I'm glad you're passionate about something in the first place. Doesn't have to be what I love. The differences are what make the world go around. So personally, I say share all the gear that you want, share all the advice that you want, especially when asked. When not asked, at least maybe make it clear, hey, I know you didn't ask, but I'm just trying to be helpful. Don't frame it up as an insult, whether you're talking about gear or albums. Same thing with, I've been able to afford some great audiophile pressings, and when I share them, I'm never saying to someone, oh, you're not even hearing this album if you're not listening to that. I just personally think that with this big boom of vinyl that's happened over the past 10 years, there are a lot of folks out there that are happy with it, that are encouraging others and really trying to help others. But I see at least 50% that are out there that really think it's more about insulting others, from their sound equipment to their tastes and so on. I think we should all just be happy that people are being passionate about music in a day and age where record labels, artists, and even music fans are not getting anything that we want. I think it's great that some people are so passionate about music that they're going to go anywhere, whether it's Amazon or whatever, to the local record store and purchase an album. That to me is not only to be admired, but encouraged. So whether, like I say, with those 2 pressings that I didn't like a lot, those 2 new releases that I didn't like a lot, I'm glad someone's excited about them, and I'm real glad that they're out buying them, no matter where they got them from, and they're playing them. They're not just sitting up on a shelf or in a frame on a wall. These pictures are being shared of people dropping the needle and enjoying these. Those are just some thoughts that I had. I didn't want this to be too preachy, so hopefully it didn't come off that way. I just feel like a lot of us could be a little bit nicer to each other in the community and more welcoming. By all means, share your opinions and anything you might see out there on the internet. Maybe there's some other Facebook groups besides the one that I praised that are just as good, or some vinyl forums I haven't seen, maybe, where that's the vibe going on. Maybe I'm just looking in the wrong places on the internet. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the like button. If you haven't already and you want to see a lot more vinyl content, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. We really, really appreciate it. We thank you so much for watching, and make sure to watch every Thursday and Saturday for a brand new vinyl video. Share your comments, share the videos, share the love. Thanks.